Hello, welcome to Beyond the Edge. I'm your host, Brandy Deutsch. Dee Dee is out today. She'll be back next week. So I'm gonna go fly solo today. It's kind of fun. It's kind of exciting. And I really want to talk about an important subject today. I'm really excited about today's show because this is something that I know so many people struggle with. If you're an entrepreneur or if you just have this amazing talent and you know that you can do something more with it, but you're just not sure and you just don't know. So our guest today is Michelle Barr. And I'm gonna introduce Michelle because I'm so excited that she's here. So Michelle Barr is a premier coach for spirit workers, and Michelle is a speaker, a teacher, an author, and she's had several best-selling books. One, which the title is, I have to say it because I love the title, Michelle. Get Your Foot Out of Your Mouth: The Entrepreneur's Guide to Taking Action. I love it. I love it. And she helps translate soul purpose into a tangible, step-by-step plan to create personal and business success. She supports and guides her clients to create a vision of the life they want to live and then create a business that supports and sustains that life. I mean, duh, right? That's what everybody wants. And then Michelle works with her clients intuitively, energetically, and strategically. Michelle, welcome. We're so happy to have you today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And this is a topic I love to talk about.
Awesome. So first, Michelle, what I want to know, and what I want to also tell our audience is, how did you get started in this energy work or spiritual work?
I'm aware now that I've always been a helper and healer. And I'm also aware that I was an empath as a child, that I was intuitive and sensitive to energy. But when you grow up that way, a lot of times you just think that's how everybody is. And you don't understand until you look back on it. But first, I followed really traditional routes and I became a therapist, got my degree, was doing therapy work. I worked in a lot of nonprofits and victim services. And then I was called to seminary because I wasn't able to do the spiritual piece that I felt was so important with people. And then I was working as a hospital chaplain. And at some point, I realized I want to get into this energy work and energy healing and energy medicine that I'm seeing is doing things that you can't do under insurance and in those traditional ways. And I got rid of my license as a therapist and I just very spirit led. I opened a little healing center in my community and I loved working with energy. And from there, I found the coaching world and realized that my gifts and skills translated well as a coach and moved forward from there.
I love it. That's so similar to my story and what I wanted to do with life. You couldn't do it in the traditional sense with the kind of limitations that you had. And they are kind of limitations because you're supposed to teach things a certain way and help people a certain way. Whereas when in energy, medicine and therapies, it's almost like the sky's the limit. There's so many possibilities. And I really love that idea, the limitlessness of how we can help people. So, what are we considering? What are you considering spirit work? What are some examples of spirit work?
I think it's gotten pretty broad as far as my clients coming to me. So I get a lot of clients that are in the intuitive and healing arts. They're psychics, they're mediums, and they're healers in all different modalities. But it's broader than that in the healing and helping field. I get therapists who want to explore adding coaching or shifting into coaching. I get acupuncturists, yoga teachers, massage therapists. It's everybody who has these gifts and skills in people's wellness and well-being and in healing and transformation. And they've just found some modality to do that, but they have a much bigger message and purpose. So spirit work can become very broad. And as with my own example, you just find different ways to express it in your own journey.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. And I love that it's gotten so broad because so many people recognize that there are ways to use their talents, maybe that they didn't see before. That's awesome. I love hearing that. Well, I want to just go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, right? So I want to talk about accepting monetary compensation for the work that you do and many other spiritual workers do. There's such a huge stigma around accepting money for things like mediumship, psychic reading, spiritual guidance. Why do you think that is?
There really is. And I've now had my business 14 years and I've really taken deep dives into that because when I came into this work, even in my own spiritual community, people said to me, people just don't pay a lot for this work. You just have to suffer to serve spirit. And I didn't think that's what spirit would want me doing. And they're struggling to do their work for free or almost free. And then they're working jobs that are literally killing them and they can't take care of themselves. And I just felt like there was a different way. And one of the things I found is this whole healers have always worked for free is completely a myth and people don't understand it. The difference is in past times, whole communities agreed to take care of their healers as a collective. The Tibetan monks came down with their blessing bowls every day, and the village people filled their bowls. The medicine people in the tribe, they actually were given the first and the best of everything. It just wasn't always money. They traded whatever they were trading in those times. And even people love it. I always talk about, don't make me talk about Mother Teresa because people want to bring up but Mother Teresa. And in fact, Mother Teresa was the CEO of a billion-dollar corporation and she chose to go and help the poor and serve there, but she traveled by private jet and private car. And when I was working in nonprofit, nobody, the people that I helped, none of them paid me directly, but somebody still has to bring the money, grants, donations, insurance. Even I grew up in the Methodist church, and there was a time when your minister was given a house, a car, and all his bills were paid. Well, now as a society, we have agreed that we don't want to do that anymore. That means everyone has to pay their own way. So it's not that we never paid, it's now everyone's responsible for their own. But the church and society and culture has really passed this on. And there's a lot of shaming of what is your highest and greatest gifts. This work is so healing and transformational. It can be priceless in people's lives.
Absolutely, man, 100%. I appreciate that perspective of at one time it was this way and now it's this way, but we still need to have that compensation and not just compensation, but it's almost like a gratis, right? Like a gratuitous type thing. It's like not even more of an exchange anymore. It's like this is what you have done. It's almost like doctors, lawyers, people who actually, and I want to get into that too, people who actually have studied a lot in order to have certain skills to help someone. And this idea of money for time and instead of money for expertise, I think it's missed on those who study the healing arts. Don't you think? What's your perspective
It
on that?
really is. There's that old, outdated model. And one of the things that I did, I was in the healing world, and it was very much, and back then when I started, $1 a minute was the way you started. And it was very much dollars for minutes. Then I went over into the coaching world and I learned other ways of packaging and pricing your work and building a container for people to heal and transform in that was longer than single sessions. So it benefited the clients and it benefited the practitioners and the healers because they weren't chasing single sessions and dollars for minutes. And I brought the coaching model back in the healing world and started teaching it to healers and using it myself. There is that really outdated, you're paying by the minute. And then also just people really still get hung up in you're paying for something that they say is God's work. Why would you pay? People have a misconception that this is easy, that I can just sit here and it just comes in from God. So why would I charge? And now more and more people have chosen to make this their business. I sat in a development circle every week for 3 years to build my psychic and mediumship abilities. I have trained in dozens and dozens of healing modalities. I've invested money, time. I have to take care of myself and I have to run a business because I've chosen to do this as my work. I have not had a job since 2006 because I want to do what I'm made to do now and only that. But people don't understand when it's a business, it's a business. And you brought up a good point. I believe doctors, lawyers, and painters and every type of person, those are all gifts from God. But we somehow get really hung up on these spiritual gifts and why aren't they free?
Absolutely, man. I agree with that as well, Michelle. What you said is so important for people to understand about the practice that goes into the healing arts that you choose. You said, you were in this group and it's a lifestyle. We watch what we eat. We are paying attention to vibrational frequencies all the time, what's coming in around us, to be mindful. It's almost like a 24/7.
It is. It really is because we have to keep our energy strong. We have to be impeccable with our energy and its natural abilities. But if you don't develop it, that's the other thing. Even people who have natural gifts sometimes say, well, why would you charge to develop it? Because it's like anything else, you have to sharpen the saw and practice and master your craft. I am always under the tutelage and the mentorship of those who are doing what I want to do. And I'm being critiqued and I'm being guided in every area. And you have to take care of yourself and your vessel, like you said, because we're helping other people and we're holding space for deep healing and transformation. All of that comes at a price to us. And we've got to be compensated for that. I would never want to hire a medium or a healer to work on me who's just come home from a 12-hour workday, didn't get to eat dinner, and is exhausted trying to stay awake to run my session.
Exactly. And this is what happens in corporate type jobs. People get burnt out, they get overwhelmed, they get just, they have to take mental days off of work because it has been so overwhelming and stressful. That if a person who's in their craft and they're very good at it, a good healer, a good spiritual worker, then they're paying attention to that, and that's not happening to them. And again, we also pay other coaches, other guides, things like that to improve our own skills, improve our own abilities to work and do what we do, which is another reason to get compensation because we also have to pay others.
And
This is
there
such
are
a good point.
three I was going to share with you, there are
Yeah.
three main points. Practicing and mastering your craft is just one, but there are three pieces that have to be attended to in all of this work. One is practicing and mastering your craft. The second is my own personal and spiritual growth and development so that I can show up for other people. I have to clear my own stuff and I have to work on my own stuff. And then the third is learning how to build a business, because you and I were just talking about, I had a very expensive hobby and I see too many people with that. And I created financial disaster for myself and my family. So we have to build a business, practice and master our craft, and work on ourselves all the time.
Absolutely. Yes, though that's a good point. Those three things are extremely important for someone in a spiritual work environment. And so, what this brings me to a really good point. There are a lot of people right now losing their jobs. I think it's a spiritual thing. I think everything's really spiritual, but they think maybe they're being forced out of their jobs or they're being put in a position where they have to leave. And for various reasons, one in particular, but for various reasons. I think there's going to be this huge influx of people who are deciding and choosing to live their life purpose, one of which is being called to do spiritual work. So, what would you say to someone who is not sure? They're just starting out. I think I can do this. I'm not sure. I don't know. What would you say to someone who is just getting out of a job and who wants to become some kind of coach?
I love that you're asking that. And I'm right there with you about it being spiritual. And there's a spiritual calling and uprising. Last year, I had more clients come to me and more new clients. And I ended up taking on more than I normally do because I was flooded. So while some people were saying, this is bad and that's happening, people were coming into their purpose. More people showed up. I need to get my book written. I can't put off my life any longer, and flooded with it. And it's still happening. And I've always had clients come to me that want to come out of their jobs, and you can do it fast or slow. There's no one way to do that. But now we are seeing more than ever people either forced out of their jobs or coming out of their jobs. One thing I would tell you is we're so far in now. I'm 14 years in, so I can really stand that people have gone before you and there are proven strategies. There are proven strategies. You know how to do it. People come to me if they have never been about business and money in their life. People come to me with amazing gifts and they can build businesses. It works. So this is no longer new. Maybe it'll work. It's very strong. And especially when you look at the coaching world and bringing spiritual coaching into the other work that you do. I believe it's a great umbrella for you to show up at the table with all your gifts and offer them. And that's the way I've worked. I moved from a local brick and mortar healing center where people got on my table and paid for minutes to an online global business. And I would tell people it's possible. The other good thing is the model allows you to scale as big or as small. Like you said, the sky's the limit. There are people in the healing and transformation world and the coaching world that have a nice little business they love, part-time or full-time, and others building multi-million-dollar empires. So you don't have to have the giant business. I'm still a sole proprietor 14 years later. I have no employees. I outsource everything I don't want to do, but I'm not building a huge business, and I love travel. So my business, I travel 1/3 of the year, and my business supports and sustains all of that. So I would say the other piece is a lot of people, what my second book is called From Calling to Cash, because we came in with a calling. We didn't come in saying, I want to build a business. Should I open a Subway franchise or a clothing store? We have a calling. So we weren't great at business, and we're not always thinking about business and money first, but there's going to be money healing and clearing that will happen. We all bump up against it. The fact that I now teach and my platform is about spirituality, money, and business sometimes is hilarious to me, because if you would have told me that, I was the last person. I had every money issue there was, like one of those, I wouldn't look at my checkbook. Like, I don't want to know if I don't have enough money. And I had to learn so that I could keep doing my work in the world. And so you don't have to be a genius at business or money. It's there for you. And the other piece is, it is the most incredible journey you will ever take. I get to live my spiritual journey 24/7 and turn around and turn it into my business. And at the same time, it will stretch and grow you. It is the most intensive personal and spiritual growth and development course you could ever enroll in. But the rewards, when you are aligned, living your purpose, the abundance that comes into every area of your life from spirit is amazing. And that's why I know that spirit did not say, let's have all these people that are going to do the most important work in the world be broke with broken bodies and broken lives. I know spirit didn't plan that way. And I watch it every day because I coach clients every single day that turn it around.
I love it. I love it, Michelle. I have a coach who says, if you want to know what you want to work on, start a business or start a new relationship, right? You learn very
Yes.
quickly what you need to work
I
on.
always say spirit pushes me and I have to walk through fires, and then I turn around and I help other people with that. And I say something similar when my client comes to me, because I work with people on their private stuff and their professional stuff. And when they're going through something, I always tell them, this is very real. You're going through this, but because of the nature of who you are and you have a business, a spiritual business, you're going to sell this next year. And they always think, oh, they're going through it and then they're going to help others. And it happens without a doubt.
Absolutely. And that's the part of the why, right? That's the why right there. It's why is this happening? Why do I have to go through this? So that you can show someone else how to go through that. Absolutely 100%. I agree with that. So Michelle, if people want to work with you, how can they reach you? How can they see what you've got going on?
They can reach me at my website, michellebarr.com, and also on my Facebook, Michelle B. Barr. And that's my personal profile because I get most of my clients through Facebook. So I show up on Facebook. I built a strong spirit workers collective, strong healer and mediumship and psychic community. In fact, last weekend, I just got back from running a spirit workers retreat where we all came together in person. So I've got strong community and I show up every day for free on that page and inspire and motivate and educate and inform you. So you can connect with me there and with all the people that are already out there doing what you're wanting to do or thinking about doing.
Awesome. Fantastic. I love that there are so many examples out there of spirit workers who are successful and who are doing it with joy and happiness and spreading that to others. That really just warms my heart because that's what we need, right? Like that's what we need more of right now. I love it. So one more question I have for you. So Michelle, the last thing I want to know is, do you have like regular programs for people? Like, do you have a program or do you do workshops? What's the way that you teach? What's your teaching style?
I do. I always have. Right now, I have a mastermind I call the 888 Mastermind, and I'm working with all the healers and intuitives in there, both personally on their abundance mentality. The 888 is you have something to take out into the world, and spirit will bless you when you do. And I'm teaching them to be the spiritual teachers, spiritual coaches, spiritual healers, and spiritual leaders that go beyond just doing a service for dollars for minutes. They have books to write. They have stages to speak on, workshops and retreats to leave, and people to serve. And so I work with that group. And then I also take private clients. I take a few private clients a month. We work together for 90 days and I teach them all this you're talking about. And then I also do retreats and classes and workshops and things like that. So if people contact me, I have somewhere that we could work together right now. And I would tell people, follow your desire and learn to trust it, because I'm teaching over and over again. It is universal law. Wherever there is a desire, a way has already been made, and it has never let me down. Every year and a half to 2 years, I have to up level myself and my business, and the resources show up and spirit meets me there where I am, and it works every time. And so if you're feeling the calling and the spark, a way has already been made. You just need to start following the breadcrumbs. And one of those breadcrumbs is they're going to put your teacher or your mentor or your next thing in front of you, and you've got to step into it. And remember, these breadcrumbs will stretch and grow you, even though they're for you, because if you were already a match to them, you'd already have all this you want, but it's there for you. And we've paved the way. People went before me. I went before my clients. We already know how it works, and it's profitable and sustainable.
Excellent, excellent. And what about your books? Where can they find your books? Because I
You
think
can go on Amazon. My first book, like you said, Get Your Foot Out of Your Mouth, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Taking Action. I wrote that book when I first started going out speaking on stages, and it's a mindset book. It's the mindset you need to do this. Then I wrote a few years later, From Calling to Cash. And that is all about how to move from your calling to having turn your life's calling into a profitable and sustainable business you love. And I'm working on my third book right now, which is going to be all about working for spirit. So you can find both of those on Amazon. And here's something, a gift for you. If you go on michellebarr.com and click on the books tab, you can get the first chapter of both of those books for free. And then you can
oh,
read that, and then it'll take you
great.
to the link if you want to buy them.
Excellent. So they can take a sneak peek into what that book
Yes.
is about in case they don't know and they're not sure. Excellent. Fantastic. Awesome, Michelle. Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been so educational. Like, I love, love, love learning more about people who are doing something amazing for the world and something amazing to help others boost themselves up. So, I thank you so much for being on the show today. And I just want people to know about our light intercession list. I'm just going to mention it real quick. If you know somebody who has uh, been going through some tough times, or they just need some guidance, some assistance, you can text or send a message to Beyond the Edge at Beyond the Edge through Facebook, or you can also have them call not call but text their name to our number 805-500-3343, and just give us their name and we'll add them to our list. And it's just some light workers who just want to help other people, to send them love, to send them unconditional love and healing. And it is free, but maybe later on it wouldn't be, right? But I think it is good sometimes to offer some services at the beginning, right? When people really need something and need some assistance and some help, I think it's a beautiful offering. And offerings are great. But if you're doing work and you're doing work in the spiritual realm, call Michelle, because I think that she could really help you get to where you want to be in life. I really appreciate you, Michelle. Thank you so much for being on this show today.
Thank you so much. You ask great questions, and you see, we talk about it. The time just flies by.
It
It's a
sure does.
really important discussion, and you ask great questions. It was a great conversation.
Thank you so much, Michelle. We appreciate you, and hope to see you on the show again sometime. We'd love to have you again.
Yes. Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us today. Light, love, and blessings, as Dee Dee would say. Namaste. All right.